make this look more ridiculous. My HTML. First, I have in parentheses here, but I put it inside a small element. You can probably guess what that does. Makes it a little smaller. And actually, Foundation applies this gray to it, too. I want it a little smaller yet than that, though. Well, let's not get carried away here. It did? No. Oh, we don't have any custom CSS yet, do we? Time to fix that. All right, so we have our H1. We have our H1 small. So a small element that is inside an H1, I'm going to make that color white smoke. Just a little off-white. The font size is 80%, I believe, by default. So I'm going to make it 60%, just a little smaller. No big deal. And against an orange background, that'll look a little better. But I want a fancy font for that thing too. So I'm going to head to our friend Google Fonts. I promised you we would talk about Google Fonts, didn't I? So let's do that now. So in the bad old days, if you were going to specify a font inside your CSS, the user had to have that font installed on their system, or they would not see it. It would fall back to a default, or you could always have a comma-separated list. If they had the first one, it would use it. Failing that, it would use the next one, etc. These days, we have web fonts. You can actually download the font to the user's computer for the page. And you run into some licensing issues there and stuff, and some format issues. But Google supplies some royalty-free fonts that we can use. And some of them are really nice. You might guess that it's fonts.google.com, and you would be right. And they're all categorized by serif and sans serif, and screen or display fonts and stuff like that. Handwriting monospace. We're interested in display fonts, ones that are really eye-catching for a headline and stuff. Yeah, lobster here. That's not bad looking. Some of the fonts you'll see have more than one style. I see this one has regular, light, and bold. Some of them only have one. This one has 4. Oh yes, because it has regular, regular italic, bold, and bold italic. Find one you like. Click the little plus here. Want to add some more? Click the plus and add them too. If you just click on the font, you can see more detail about it, more of the characters, how it looks next to other fonts, so you can compare how something would look paired with something else on the page. When you're done, this tells you how to use it. So you could just download the font and put it in yourself and write your own CSS and stuff. That's a pain in the neck. They did the work for you, and we may as well use their CDN. So it'll give you a link element that you could just copy and paste. Or, that's standard, you could switch to import, and it'll give you an import statement that you could put in your style sheet. I'm going to do it that way. And then it tells you in your CSS, refer to it like this. If you want more information about this stuff in general, and Google Fonts specifically, there's a Getting Started guide that it shows right there. Also notice it says load time fast. So be mindful of the fact that fonts can be large, and they have to download these things. So don't add 4 dang fonts in here unless you have a really good reason. And like this one, I think had 4 styles. So by default, it's only going to include one of them. If you want the others, you can add them. Sooner or later, the load time is going to get worse. And this one only has the Latin characters, but sometimes there's extended character sets too. And by default, it'll only include the Latin characters, not a bunch of Unicode stuff. So you can select and deselect those too. If you don't need those extra characters, don't waste their time downloading them. So having picked one, I can paste my import statement up here. I'm going to use Bungee. And that's going to be the font for my H1. So I'm going to put a rule in here for H1. I'm going to say font family, Bungee. And it suggests as a fallback cursive because it's a display font. I'm okay with just sans serif as the backup. Whatever. Yay! So nice.